Hey, Cathy. So glad you could join us today and chat about caregiving and self-care and elder care and all that good stuff.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm just happy to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time. This is
I
great.
know, I know it's been a couple years since we met at the National Caregiving Conference, and so much of what you said resonated with me. So I know we'll be chatting about some of that today. I like to kick off with some words of inspiration and encouragement from the Happy Healthy Caregiver Jar. This was a
Love
gift
your
I made for my sister when she assumed caregiving responsibilities for my mom, and I know she uses it, and then I fill it up when I go up and put more stuff in it. So today's we'll get your thoughts on this. It says, "You are what you eat, so don't be fast, cheap, easy, or fake."
That's fantastic.
Yes. Fast food,
Man,
easy food.
that
Yeah,
was
cheap,
meant for me.
fake. I know. It's so hard, I think, as a caregiver and as a woman running any family that, it's so easy to grab the quick stuff. And so, um,
I always call myself a smash and grab eater, right? Ever since I had kids and then went into that caregiving world. But I tried to change my smash and grab food because I knew I probably wouldn't change who I was as an eater, right? So if I could change the food so that it was easier to come by, so nuts and fruit
yes.
and even maybe little cheese squares or something like that, so that it was better food than a box of Cheez-Its or pretzels or chips or whatever. Um,
And it's going to
that was
sustain you. It's going to
Yep,
sustain you.
and that was one of the things that I tried to think about when food was when time was an issue and food was an issue. I'm in a, of course, we're all in a different place right now with
Yeah.
time. Um, but I have less caregiving now, although my 91-year-old mom lives right down the street from me. My mom's amazing. She's in her house all by herself. But, I'm kind of
Oh,
a
she
good,
lives independently.
oh yeah. And she until the COVID, she was going to the gym and church every day.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, Cathy. You've got
Right?
good genes and a good
Good
role model
genes.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Well, tell us more about your caregiving experience.
So I have been a caregiver for 8 different family members and friends over the last 30 years.
Wow.
And I want to put right out front there that I count my husband as one of those people. Not as just as being a husband, but last Christmas, he got injured pretty desperately. He
Mm.
fell. And he fell in a gym coming down the stairs. They forgot to pull all the stairs out. So he calls it a sports injury.
Oh, there you go. It
It's
sounds
in a
much,
gym.
much better story. Most of the injuries are such silly stories when you really think about it.
But it required 6 weeks of his leg perfectly straight and then surgery and then 3 months of rehab and whatever. So I count that because I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm not a caregiver, I'm a spouse, or I'm not a caregiver, I'm just helping my mom with groceries or whatever, right? And I learned, I think, from you, to be honest with you, that
Mm.
the definition of caregiver is more than what we think it is, right? Most people don't define themselves, and that's problematic. So, but the other 7 were really, truly primary caregiving experiences. Aunts, mothers-in-law, great aunts. My mom fell a couple times and broke her arm and her leg, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah,
You've been the person for many, many people. It's a
yes,
lot, and you've seen it.
yes,
And so you've had to figure out how to integrate your own life. You work full time, correct?
yes. I do. I
Okay.
do. The good news is I work for myself. So that gives me humongous flexibility in terms of my life, right? So yeah, yeah. And I can choose how much work I'm going to take on or not take on. I have that luxury. I'm not a primary breadwinner for, 10 kids or anything like that. So I have a
Hmm.
lot of flexibility. I'm fortunate, but I think that, that was kind of maybe God's plan. That's why I'm a caregiver for 8 different people over the last 30
Yeah, but I appreciate that. Like, there's times in my career where I've been like, I've kept the lights on, so to speak, where you're just like coasting and not taking on new projects and things like that. And then there's other times where you're able to ramp and speed up. And so,
Yes.
you're an elder law care attorney, correct?
I am. I'm an elder attorney. Yes, yes.
Elder
Which
attorney,
is,
and
yep.
were you doing that? Has that always been your profession, or did caregiving inspire that direction for you?
Caregiving made me do that. It was
Okay.
an absolute necessity. So I live in a small town in southeastern Pennsylvania, and I was just a small town general practice attorney. And when my daughter was 92 and my grandmother was 92. My first caregiving experience, Nana came to live with me.
My
And
daughter was 2 and she was 92, 90-year age gap. Ooh.
it was great. It was hilarious. Okay. And to be honest with you, that's my first book. It's called Showering with Nana. Confession.
I have it.
Oh, you are so sweet.
I read
Confession
it and
of a
I
Serial
flagged
Caregiver.
something we'll pull out of that, but keep
So,
going.
so that was that experience. And then my husband's great aunt from Australia came to live with us off and on a little bit, and his mother, who's in her 90s, and so it just kept progressing of these people that I was taking care of. And I needed to know that area of the law. That's a very specific area of the law, elder law, about powers of attorney and nursing homes and Medicare and all. So I just had to know it for my life, for my caregiving life. And so I just honed my practice, elder law.
That's
how
awesome.
that happened. Mm-hmm.
And that paired with the caregiving experience is so key and to helping other people. I know a lot of times as a certified caregiving consultant, I get asked a lot of questions, and I am not a lawyer, I'm not a financial planner, but I know people, who are,
Exactly.
and I often tell them to, the laws vary by state, and I often tell people if they haven't already engaged with an elder care law attorney, that I advocate for that, because those folks like yourself are so plugged into your community and the resources that are available, and you understand, Medicare, Medicaid, and the different programs, and that it's a good starting place. Plus, you need to have all your freaking paperwork together. Let's just say that. So
yes.
What are some of those things that
So just a real quick 30-second definition. There's a difference between an elder attorney and an estate attorney. Most people think that they're the same person, and we are not. Many elder lawyers are estate lawyers and vice versa, but not always. Elder lawyers are for live people who have aging problems, caregiving problems. Estate lawyers are for dead people. Your estate is when you're dead, right? Yeah. What do I want? Where do I want my stuff to go when I'm dead? That's what an estate lawyer typically does. Like I said, some lawyers can do both. Some lawyers do not do both. So know who you're going to see and what questions you need to ask, because those documents, as you remarked, are extremely important. So here's the 3 major ones. You need 2 powers of attorney. You need a healthcare power of attorney, and you need a durable financial power of attorney. They are so critical to me. They're more critical than a will. Because yes, if you die, your stuff has to go somewhere. Often the state makes it go to all your relatives anyway, and it's probably almost always what you would choose. And I am not saying don't get a will, absolutely. But if you get sick and you can't take care of your affairs, there is nothing in place to help you except going to court and having a guardian appointed, which is expensive. You might not like the person in charge of you. They might not make the decisions you want them to make. And it's scary. Right? So that's what powers of attorney do. This is what it is. A power of attorney is a document that you sign, giving the authority to some person that you choose, who's called your agent, to act as if they are you in every capacity.
Yes.
It's a really powerful tool, right?
Yes.
So choose wisely.
Yeah.
Choose wisely.
And they don't have to be the same. You could have one for your health and one for your finances.
Exactly. And please choose an alternate. A lot of spouses choose each other. You probably have your husband and you as each other. What happens if you're traveling together and you're in an accident together and you're just in the hospital at the same time and you can't make those decisions for somebody? Make sure there's an alternate in there.
And then what was the 3rd document?
A will. You should have a will. Yeah. Okay. Have a will. Yeah. And the 4th is because this is what happens every time you go to the hospital. They say, do you have a living will? I swear, I don't even think most people in the hospital know what that is. But a living will is a document, and it's kind of weird now with COVID-19. It's a document that you normally use if you are in a permanent vegetative state. What do you want done? It's a pull the plug or don't pull the plug document, right? What do I want done?
Do not resuscitate.
Great.
Yes.
It's a great thing. But with COVID-19, it's tricky, isn't it?
Yes.
Some people said, don't put me on a respirator, but now, put me on a respirator. A respirator is not necessarily mean that I'm in a permanent vegetative state now, right? So those are tricky, but if you go to an elder lawyer, they will talk to you about all of those things and you will get them done properly. And as you said, they're different from state to state.
Yes.
Really critically different.
And I know, like, I live in Georgia, my mom's in Michigan, but we want to have things situated for where mom is.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
The when you were caregiving for all of these variety of different situations, where did you find support physically, emotionally?
So I have a huge family. I have 8 siblings, and they're wonderful. We're very close. So I've always, and I told you my mom is 91, lives down the street from me. Also, huge support. One of my major caregiving experiences was for my brother-in-law who had multiple sclerosis. My
Mm.
sister passed away, and her parting words to me were, "Take care of Larry," who was perfectly healthy at the time. So I'm like, "Sure, I'll take care of Larry." And then he got
No
very, very
problem.
sick. Yeah, I know, right? I said she had cosmic insider
Hmm.
information. Um, so my mom who was a nurse, and my other sister's a nurse. I have a lot of family support, so I'm very fortunate that way.
Mm.
And I learned the hard way, like most caregivers, to ask for help. Just freaking ask for help,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes I say make your list before you, because the people will ask you and then you can't think of anything.
Right,
So have
right.
a little thing in your notes like, oh, that's something I could do. Like sometimes it's so silly. Like it's, here's an example, a recent one. My sister cares for my mom now. It's a primary caregiver. And so I'm a support, but sometimes it's just like, hey, can you research and buy XYZ? Like all coming up for the 4th of July. We like to karaoke. It's kind of a fun
Yeah,
thing.
there you go.
One of the mics went missing. We need a karaoke mic. Like she thinks of it. She texts me. I research it. I get it. Like it's done, and so
Yes,
that's just one less thing for her to think about. She wants
exactly.
to have a fun time when everybody comes up, and she wants to be prepared for that. So it can be caregiving related or not caregiving related, but it's one less thing that she has to do.
Exactly. It can be go pick up my dry cleaning because
Hmm.
I got to go to the nursing home, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Lots of things there. So you mentioned the coronavirus pandemic, and with your profession, like what kind of unique little legal issues are coming up right now that you're hearing about?
Interestingly enough, well, I did mention about the living will problem, so you have to make sure that the language is we have to sort of freshen up that language from a legal perspective to
Mm.
make sure that it's understood that, that only means if I'm definitely not going to be revivable. But the biggest thing that's happening is people are actually, I'm so happy, noticing they need to have their stuff, get their documents in order, interestingly enough, the challenge for us, and I told you I live in southeastern Pennsylvania, which we have a pretty big shutdown right now. It's pretty intense around this area. So we're just starting to open up. So we couldn't have our offices open. We couldn't see people. There were no notaries. That was a challenge. But now that that's getting lighter and lighter, I hope people continue to understand that they need to have these documents. These documents weren't necessary because of COVID-19. These documents were necessary because they're necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone should have them.
It just spotlighted it, and it spotlighted a lot of the caregiving and the issues with caregiving, like now that
Yes.
everybody's working from home, and they've had to, some cases, educate small children, work a job, take care of aging parents. Like now that seems like an overwhelming place. It was overwhelming before, but
Exactly.
and isolating before, but at least the conversations are happening more. And I'm
Yes.
encouraged by some of the things like telemedicine and virtual appointments,
All of
mobile
those things
notary.
that were impossible before. Impossible. We can't do that. You have to come to the doctor's office, right? Now, all of a sudden, sure, we can do it that way.
Yes. Even my work. I mean, they're working on a work from home policy. We didn't have that before. So,
Right.
um, there are some silver linings in this craziness.
Truly. Truly.
Yes. Yes. So, well, when we were in, you talked about how this is a business of death when we were at the conference, and how overwhelming it is to get help with that. And hopefully people now understand that one great place to start is the elder attorney,
Yeah,
that they're focused
definitely.
on that.
Yeah.
Why do you think people just haven't done it? Like
There's two primary reasons that I usually see. Number one is they think if they do these documents, something bad is going to happen to them.
Hmm.
It's kind of just a superstition, right? If I make a will, I'm going to die. If I do a power of attorney, I'm going to be sick. I will tell you that I would say 90% of my clients who have come in the door in the last 25 years don't even know what a power of attorney is. I have to be honest with you, I didn't either. Before I became an elder lawyer, even as a law student, I never thought of a power of attorney as a document that should be something I have in my safe deposit box or you know, my fireproof box just in case I need it. Nobody thought about that. So it's still an education. That's the other thing. They're uneducated about these things and they need them and should have them. And the second thing is of course, they think it's too expensive. People think if I go see an attorney, I can't afford it, period. End of story. They don't go any further than that.
So let's bust that myth. How do you bust that?
Well, there's two ways. Number one, call an attorney and ask how much it costs. Well, there's 10 ways, really. That's number one. Number two, think about how much it's going to cost if you don't have these documents, right? It's going to cost you thousands of dollars, probably tens of thousands of dollars to get a guardian in place to take care of someone's affairs and then continue as the court requires you to report every year, every penny you spend on someone and every doctor's appointment you go to. That's a guardianship process that you would be required to do. Even if it's your spouse and you're the guardian, you still have to do it. Like, that's crazy. Time and money, time and money. It's going to ultimately save you time and money, right?
And you have peace of mind for sure.
Yeah, what's that worth? Right?
A lot.
And in today's, and I think that's why people are definitely saying, okay, I'm going to get my documents in order because I need peace of mind. I can see that something could happen to me, even temporarily, and I need to have my documents in order and I feel better. And everybody who does this will feel better.
That's awesome. You also had mentioned at the time that there was lots of employee benefits that were unused.
Yes. I don't know about your work, but you should check and see.
Yep.
Look at your handbook, your HR, whatever. But there's often, well, obviously FMLA, if you're Family Medical and Leave Act, if your employer is big enough for that. There's often, sometimes they have, you know, they have childcare benefits. Sometimes they have that benefit for daycare for older people, for your parents, if you're taking care of a parent or a brother-in-law or whatever. I am working with a lot of people in long-term care insurance, and there's sometimes a benefit that you can buy at work that people don't even know about. And they can sometimes buy it for their parents as an at-work benefit.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of sometimes time. You can get vacation time from other employees sometimes. They'll let you do that. They'll let people sell it to them. You know, it's like people have to investigate. They don't know that there's these benefits out there for caregivers.
Yeah, I know one that I didn't realize until after the fact was with my employee assistance program. They would do the research for the assisted living facilities near me, and like it would, you know, pull all this data together and hand me some information.
Wow.
Me going and researching on Google and
do you know, Elizabeth, sometimes they even have legal services benefits. Like you can either get discounted or free documents that we're talking about.
Yes. And there are other, you know, there are other companies that some employers have. I know Torchlight, which I had just
love Torchlight.
Talked to Lenore. Yeah, like a bolt-on to help with parents who have children who are developmentally or physically disabled and caregivers as well. And so, yeah. And if you don't have it, ask about it. And maybe they're just waiting for more people to ask about it.
Exactly. It's time to bring that to the forefront, because caregivers are the secret. They're the mothers of the 1970s, 80s, 90s. You couldn't tell people you had a kid, but you had to go home because your child was sick or you wanted to go see their school play. That's over. You know, everybody's like fully supportive of you, you know, being a mom or a dad and being with your kid. Caregivers to say, I have to go to the nursing home because they just called her, they're embarrassed, right?
Yeah. I just say I have an appointment.
Right.
I don't tell more than I need to tell. It's my time. I'm getting my job done. So,
but I like what you said. Well. Bring that to HR. What do you have for caregivers? You know, I might not even be one yet, but my sister's one. What do you have?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times it's for the person. Well, you've written 2 books about caregiving. I've read one of them, The Showering with Nana, Confessions of a Serial (killer) ... caregiver. And then you wrote another one, Who Moved My Teeth, Preparing for Self, Loved Ones, and Caregiving. How has writing helped you?
2 things. When I did Showering with Nana, that was a diary almost that I kept, you know, at the time while I was taking care of a 92-year-old and a 2-year-old at the same time. And it was just for my sanity, because I really was kind of losing my mind. It was so hard to figure out how to treat a 92-year-old not like a 2-year-old and not treat a 2-year-old like an adult, because quite frankly, they were in cahoots 90% of the time together.
That's funny.
Um,
It's so
so
true. I don't know if I can pause you there. I wanted to maybe read a little bit from, and you can spin through this book and read any of your days and get this kind of enjoyment. And I love a book that's kind of written like a diary. They're just always appealing to me.
Thanks.
So day 104, you were talking, you said, now I was having Oprah guilt. She was out there telling us we all needed to be grateful and that we should be writing in our grateful journals every day and how we have so much to be thankful for. So I tried to behave myself. I'm grateful for my healthy child. I'm grateful for my wonderful, understanding husband. I'm grateful for the time Nana gave to me as a child. I'm grateful for this nice house. I'm grateful for the rainy day. I'm grateful for, I couldn't finish that because of the loud crash. I ran downstairs to find Nana up from her nap, standing on a kitchen chair, trying to get the flour off the top shelf so she could bake some pies. I'm grateful that she didn't fall off the stool. I'm grateful that she only dropped the flour into the dish drainer. I'm grateful that she only broke a few glasses, and I'm grateful that I didn't kill her. So, yeah, but that's like so relatable, right? Like, yeah, we should on ourselves. I should,
You're right.
Yes. And sometimes you are just grateful for the little things and the crazy.
Yeah, that was the last grateful journey entry in that during that period of time.
Yes. That's awesome. Yeah, it's very funny. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thanks. Humor's critical. And my second book, and it's behind me, but I happen to have a mug that my publisher gave me. So there's oh,
I love it. Who Moved My Teeth? Yes.
And that book is really, that's a how-to book. The first part is the legal stuff you need. The second part, because I've been a caregiver for so many people, is a lot of the practical stuff you also, try to help caregivers with, how to make your life easier as a caregiver, things that I've learned,
Yes. It's so much about trying what works for you or you hear works for other people, seeing what fits for you, and then adjusting it, incorporating it into the little flavors of your life.
Yes, exactly.
You also do a lot of speaking on these topics, and I know you've got a fun new adventure that you've been doing. Talk a little bit about what a slam is and what this story slam's all about.
So generally a story slam is there used to be, well, it probably still is, poetry jams that were very famous and familiar in the 80s, and they were on HBO, and you would hear poets get up and do their poetry. And so they turned it into, for people like us who don't do poetry, story slams. And you tell a 5-minute story on a topic that they have told you what the topic is, and you can't use notes and you can't use music or props or anything. And it's a little contest, and they have one here in a local bar, and I've been doing it for years because it's good practice for me because I'm a speaker,
Yes.
And my husband actually said to me one time, you got to stop talking about caregiving, talk about something else. I'm like, no, this is my life. And, but either way, I use it in my work. So no, this is how I get an audience. So I'm doing a huge one. As a matter of fact, I turned my house into a recording studio. It's in Canada, but they can't, nobody's going to Canada. Right. So they opened it virtually, and it's worldwide, which is so cool because there's people from all over the world doing this. So it's multicultural, it's multinational, and it's on the topic of resilience.
Perfect.
What a great
caregiving.
Right? What a great time, and and of course, I'm going to tell you, it's a caregiving story for me. Right.
Well, and frankly, like story sharing, and I know when I spoke with Brita Miller, who was another
Love
guest.
her.
Yeah, she does story slams, and
she did this one. Yeah.
Oh, she did
in Canada. She went to Canada because she lives in Michigan, I think.
Yes, she does. She lives in Michigan.
Right.
But stories sharing, and this was like an aha moment, maybe even last year at the conference, is that it's really a form of advocacy.
Yeah.
When you're sharing your story, people can relate to the people and resonate with that more so than if you're just citing a bunch of facts. It's like, yes, there's millions of caregivers, but this is Cathy and here's her story.
Yes. And you're right. But it's more like, oh my God, that's my story. I get that. Or I never thought of doing it that way. That's brilliant. That's so helpful to me. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, I love stories.
I do too. I love stories. And she turned me on, I think, to the Moth podcast. I've been listening to that.
Yes. It's the Moth is where it kind of all started too. Yes, it's fabulous.
When is your event?
Next Thursday. It's called Speaker Slam, speakerslam.ca. If you want to go, you can, go, you can attend. And it's going to
And that'll
be
be the day
12.
after this podcast airs, actually. So
Oh, that's cool. It's going to be
yes.
12 speakers, and we have to pre-record it because they wanted to make sure that nothing went wrong, right? So it can't be live, unfortunately. And I will tell you, as a speaker, and you know this, not having a live audience is tough. I really love my live audiences. And speaker slams are just all about engaging your audience. So we'll see how it goes. But I had a lot of fun doing it. Like I said, my house is a ridiculous studio with tripods and lights and microphones and all kinds of crazy stuff all over the place now.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your livelihood is on speaking as well. You've had to adapt and pivot to doing more virtual events.
I am, and so I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you
Yes.
for recording it and doing it visually, because that's nice for me.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Well,
Yeah.
we wrap up this part with a lightning round from the Just for You Daily Self-Care Journal. And so while this was written with caregivers in mind, it's not caregiving specific, but I have pulled together just prompts and questions that really help you be deliberate and intentional about your self-care and to make it easy. So just thinking about it, in different ways. And so I pulled out a few that I thought I would love to get your thoughts on. This one could be fun. What would the movie title for your life be right now?
She laughed till she died.
Nice. Nice. That came out quickly. She laughed till she died. So, I mean, I think that says a lot about who you are, that you're finding the joy and the humor in things, and that keeps you sane, and that you're going to live your best life till the very, very end. And I think you've got a big chance of having a really long one with your mom.
Yeah,
and
with my genetics, right?
Yes, yes. Your husband better really like you.
Yeah.
So
Well, we've actually learned we kind of do after, 80 days together, just the two of us in this house. We're like, wow, I kind of like you.
yes, yeah, we learn a lot about our relationships. So it could go either way. What's the best nonfiction book you've ever read?
Oh, geez.
Or one that you recommend a lot?
Yeah. There's one called, oh shoot, it's about this woman who had a brain injury. Oh, it's so good. My darn, oh, I can't remember. She has a stroke. My stroke of genius. My stroke of genius. Her name is Julie something. Why? I always remember people's first names, not their
Yeah.
last names. But it is an amazing book because she is a neurologist and she had a stroke at a very young age, and it, of course, blew her mind. And she has to come back. I think it takes her 7 years to really come back to be who she is. And it is an amazing journey.
Oh, I would
Really
love that.
inspiring.
It has some of my key ingredients, which are all my favorite books have. I love memoirs, and I love resilience and persistence and strong women. So
it's really great. If you have not read it, please get it. It's so good.
Yes, I will. Yeah. I have not read that. What's saving your life right now?
I talk to my granddaughter who lives in Ireland, who's 1, so we don't really talk, but every day.
That's so
and
sweet.
It's yeah, I look forward to that every single day. Yeah. That's a lifesaver.
And we hope that we can travel safely and go see the ones we love. But I'm grateful for technology that helps people connect.
Yes. So that's really the answer, right? Technology is saving me.
Yeah, that's so true. Can you imagine if we weren't able to have Zoom happy hours and all those things that we've been doing?
No.
What's one thing I know that you did today, or we can say yesterday, to prioritize your own health and wellness?
I took 2 naps yesterday. So I recorded yesterday. No, the day before I recorded, and I have to record late at night because of the lighting. That's the best way to do it. So I recorded 25 times yesterday till I got the one I wanted, and I thought it was great. And my brother is a TV technician, and he's editing it for me. He's in California. He emailed me back and said, you have to do it again.
Oh, no.
And I'm always wrecked the day after doing something like that. So yesterday was the day I had to do it again, but I had to do it late at night because I have to wait for it to get dark. So I took 2 naps yesterday because I knew that I had to really get myself really up to do this recording and make it good. And honestly, it was the best one ever.
Oh, good.
It was so good. I'm so happy with it. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Well, I can't wait to see it, and we'll of course support you. And I just so appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't cover? How do people find out more about you? Where can they connect with you?
So my website is Cathy. It's Cathy with a C, C-A-T-H-Y, Sikorski, SIKORSKI.com. You can find me there. But if you type in Cathy Sikorski on Google, it'll come up. I'm on Amazon for my books. I'm on, you'll find me. I'm the first 3 pages. So, because I never shut up. So there you go.
No, I love it. I love it. We mostly connect and interact. I know on Twitter is where I
Yes, love Twitter at Cathy_Sikorski. Twitter's oh my God, so fun place.
Yes, it is a fun place. Well, thank you so much. I've enjoyed speaking with you. I've enjoyed learning from you. I know that a lot of people are going to benefit from hearing this and hopefully get inspired. If we leave you with one thing, get your paperwork together.
That one thing. Please just go get your paperwork done, please. That's all I want you to do. And then take care of yourself.
Perfect. Well, good luck on the contest. And
thank you. So great to see you.
You same. You're a winner no matter what happens. So
thanks. That's right. And I can't wait to see you in person whenever that may be.
Yes. Well, virtual hugs in the meantime.
Yeah, you too.